This is a 118-year-old house. And when we first saw it, it was completely desolate. It was one stage before a ruin.
Everything had to be redone. Starting from the path coming down, there was a pagdandi. There was no path coming down. And we got 4 walls and half a roof.
It cost us at that time about 1.25 CR. People who are in the metros, people who are in tier 1 cities, living, working in a corporate MNC or working in a corporate world, for them, life is pretty much clockwork. You have to get up at a specific time, get your breakfast done, head before the peak hour starts. That was happening with us also while we were in Delhi. We kind of, realized that is not what's going to define us. We didn't want to be part of that, the so-called rat race, as they say. And our conviction grew even stronger, Shrishti, after our daughter was born, that we didn't want her to be raised in a metro, in an urban setting. We wanted her to have a more grassroots level upbringing. And we said that, look, if life gives us an opportunity, let's just get out, go into the mountains and start something. So in terms of location, Landour ticks every box. There's a saying in Hindi that Landour kya hai? Landour hai 4 dukaan aur 24 makan. And so just a very quaint old English town, and we just fell in love with this place. So the move to Landour happened in 2010. November 2009, Sunita, Shrishti and I, we were holidaying here. And as luck would have it, or as destiny would have it, we chanced upon this property. And I still remember we were right at the top, and I asked Sunita, I said, if life gives us an opportunity, would you like to settle down over here? And she took a look around. And she said, yeah, I would love to. So Villa Bethany, the whole concept was that when we first saw it, and as I said, the property spoke to us, we fell in love with this place. And that's when, the clarity of vision happened that we'll do a bed and breakfast. We were one of the first people, one of the first early birds to move into the homestay category in India.
We get people from diverse backgrounds, not just in terms of professions, but also cultures and nationalities. So it's a very interesting thing. In the library, we have a map where, whenever we have international guests coming in, we ask them to put a dot and mark where home is for them. So, now every continent is marked. But the good thing is they say that wherever you've asked us to mark home, we come from there, but now we have a home in Landour.
So we are both professional hoteliers.
Post-college, I joined ITDC. After that, I joined ITC Hotels. I was part of the opening team of ITC Maratha in Bombay. I used to manage restaurants there. And then after a couple of years, we got married. I moved to Moria in Delhi.
My background, again, hospitality. Worked with the Oberois for 12 years. After my stint with the Oberois, I worked with the British Foreign Office. And it was a very, very plum job. It was a very important job in the Foreign Office. I was one of the highest ranking Indians. And then at the height of all of that, I decided to quit and do this. It sent shockwaves in the family. People started questioning, saying, has Amrjeet lost it? Is he bonkers? Ye kya hai? Why is he trying to do this? But I think for us, we had already made up our mind, because, if India has to be a developed country, we have to spur entrepreneurship amongst its people. And particularly in the privileged class, people have access to wealth, people have access to education. We need to get out of this mindset of being employees to becoming employers. I still remember we had this book in which I titled it as, Project Villa Bethany. And we would do these permutations, combinations of,
the number crunching.
The number crunching. As Sunita said earlier, she was fortunate to work with ITC Hotels, and she joined the group at the right time, quit at the right time. She got lots of ESOPs. We kept those ESOPs, and I still remember a very senior manager from ITC Hotels.
It was the VP HR.
Okay.
He said, when I have to show a mascot of how the ESOPs should be used, I talk about you.
So to be honest, he said that a lot of your peers in the organization went and bought BMWs and Audis and all and flashy cars and living the high life, whereas you've utilized it to create an asset. We also had this at the back of the mind that if push comes to shove, we have an apartment in Bombay, so we liquidated that.
I remember we bought it in, I think, 2005.
2005.
And we sold it in 2010.
12. No, 2012.
12.
2012.
Correct, 12. So those 7 years is when the actual boom happened in Bombay in real estate. So we bought it for 14 lakhs and we sold it for 65 lakhs. So we really benefited with that.
That's how we worked. So one was the ESOPs. We had savings. I had savings from the Foreign Office days, and then the apartment in Bombay, and plus then later on, just to bridge that gap which was wanting, we took a loan from a cooperative bank in Bombay. The initial few years were tough. Absolutely. I mean, there's no business where you open the doors and
There's instant success.
the flood comes through. There was nothing like that. Yes, we had to fight for getting business, and we had to work hard. We had to spread messages.
When we initially started off, we realized that a lot of work needs to be done in the place, and the project will take some time. So we decided to play to our own strengths. For me, at that time, there was no difference between a nut and a bolt. So he told me very clearly, project is not your cup of tea. I'll handle it. Tu paise leke aa. So though he quit and moved here, I continued working for the next 2 years. The 1.5 years of project, and another 6 months after we started operations also. So because somebody had to get the bread in.
So traditionally in the hospitality industry, it takes anywhere from 7 to 8 years to break even. All right. So we also broke even in the 8th year. But as I said earlier, this being a 118-year-old property, whatever little profits that we earned earlier, it went into
we plowed
it back into the maintenance of this place. Now we are absolutely there.
From Villa Bethany, we do around 1 crore a year. This is revenue. Profit right now would be
30%.
Around, no, 15%. 15% is the net profit.
She's the money.
Yeah. Many a times, and between the two of us, honestly, he leaves the finances to me. So many a times, he asks me that, how are we doing financially? Okay. But the question comes more from the point of view that in our old age, will we be able to lead the same kind of lifestyle that we are able to lead now? So one good thing is that because we become entrepreneurs, we will never retire. We need only so much that our current lifestyle continues, our health is taken care of, our daughter's education is taken care of. After doing all this, the only thing we want to do, which is our life's goal, is that we want to travel, we want to see the world. As of now, we are getting the world coming to us. Now we want to go and explore the world. So right now we are not saving for it, but we are doing investments. Investments would be, we have a house in Delhi. Apart from that, there are mutual funds that we've invested in. There are stocks. Now I think the house is still 60%. Equity would be around 25%. Insurances and mutual funds, all those things would be the balance.
We are not traders. We see a spike and sell and buy. No, we don't do that. It's for the long haul.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, one of the advices. I had read an article that floated on the net. Warren Buffett's advice saying that be an investor, always be invested. So that's been the fundamental rule of investing, is that stay invested for the long haul.
And that's another secret why we have peaceful sleep. When we bought that house, that time we were the typical ding couple, double income, no kids. Though we were living in cities, see, for us, thanks to our careers, all our high life was happening there. So, I used to manage restaurants, I used to manage pubs and discs. So, after that, for myself, going to a pub or a disc had no charm. And it was the same thing for both of us. So, in terms of expenditure, whatever we were earning, almost 80 to 85% of it, we were spending because we were living on rent. We had put our daughter in daycare. So, we were earning quite a bit. But at the end of the day, हाथ में कुछ नहीं बचता था. Now, we moved to a small town. A movie theatre came out here just a few years back. There's just one theatre. Before that, to even think of going for a movie, we had to plan going down to Dehradun.
In general, life in the mountains is very simple.
Very simple, very simple.
It's very simple. The needs of people are very basic. So
Very
what
basic.
happens is that you focus, as I said earlier, you refocus your priorities. So we would say it's almost like the expenditure, the costs have reduced by almost 50%.
Now our expenditure honestly is on things that we love. For me, one of my biggest expenses is my garden. But that gives me a lot of inner peace and it gives me a lot of satisfaction. That's something I would invest in. So net there is a lot of saving. I would say if we were able to save 15% of what we earned earlier, now it is easily 45 to 50%. That's why I say we've also become Pahadis, because personally our own needs are very limited. हमें क्या चाहिए? At the end of the day, 2 वक्त की रोटी वो आ रही है, ठीक है, सुकून की नींद मिलती है, एक बेटी है उसकी पढ़ाई हो रही है, उसके बाद इट मे साउंड फिलोसॉफिकल मगर उससे आगे जाके और क्या चाहिए? वी बोथ कम फ्रॉम वेरी वेरी रेगुलर मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज, बट वी वर ब्लेस्ड विद अ स्किल सेट एंड लाइफ गेव अस एन अपॉर्चुनिटी, so that is what we want to share with others now, this opportunity for the local youth who don't get that chance. So our goals are now very very different. अपने लिए कर लिया, अब इसको बांटना है.
But the advice for people who want to do this, the key over here is perseverance and the fact that you have to give time for it to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. All right, so there are days of frustration. They were initially, not now. But you have to believe in the power of your dream and continue. Keep trudging along, dig in your heels. COVID was a trying time, when absolutely every source of income just dried out. We were there 9 months without any business. But what we did was, we kept the entire team together. We didn't let anyone go. We said that we'll tide over the crisis together as a family, and then we'll pick up the reins, when the business comes in. But my advice is, if somebody does want to do this, and particularly if it's a couple, the first thing is that both the spouses have to be on the same page. That's when the synergy happens, and that's when you can, pull in the talents and move forward.
There are a lot of people who have a very romantic notion of moving to the mountains. You're used to certain creature comforts in the city. Don't expect that you're going to get everything. In the city, you pick up the phone, order somebody, the plumber will be there at your doorstep, or your veggies will be delivered to you on your doorstep. That is not going to happen. Secondly, here you don't decide. Everything is dictated by nature. You may plan that today I'm going to do this. You wake up the next morning and it's pouring.
Yeah, you got to surrender to the ways of the mountain. The mountains will not change for you. You have to change for the mountains.
Yeah.
That's the thumb rule.
If this is something you want to do, don't die with a regret that I wish I had done it. You have only one life. Go do it.
No, not just
maximum क्या होगा? नहीं चलेगा. You can go back to what you were doing earlier, but take that plunge.
Both Sunita and I, we believe in this fact that we need to have a certain degree of reverse migration happening. So one of my missions in life is to convince many people, to quit urban areas, go into rural areas and start something. It's not just mountains. You could be somebody who loves the beach, who loves the sea. You could go into the remote parts. Somebody who is an avid, naturalist or something like that could look at living on the periphery of a national forest and create something over there, start a business, something over there and do. So it's about, leaving the urban centers and going and settling in rural areas.
And bringing your skill set into that area.
Yeah, bringing your skill set. What is it that you bring to the local community over there, and create opportunities.
At the end of the day, you have to keep adding values to wherever you move.
The pros are much more than the cons. The kind of quality of life, the richness, the fact that you're breathing fresh air. You're living life which is absolutely peaceful. You switch off all the lights and you sit and you gaze up in the sky. You will see stars that you would never see in the, in the city.
I will just say it in one line, that life is better in Landour.
Thank you for watching and supporting our channel. If you like the stories we tell, here's your chance to be a part of it. If you or anybody you know has an interesting financial journey to share, then please fill the form in the pinned comment below and we'll get in touch with you.